What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Rats Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors. We've had an insane amount of rumors today, from Bruce Brown to Dennis Schroeder to even Chris Boucher. So we'll be discussing all of that in today's video. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel. And the shout out for today's video goes out to, I was about to say Bruce Brown. The shout out goes out to Phil Gaps. Spoiler alert, some of the trade rumors include Bruce Brown, but thank you, Phil, for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, let's talk about the first trade rumor, and I found this one quite interesting. It was being reported that Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Lowry are being monitored by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Toronto's Dennis Schroeder and Kyle Lowry, who was recently traded from Miami to Charlotte and likely will be moving on via trade or buyout, are two names on the radar. Finch did coach Lowry for half a season in Toronto before he was hired to take over in Minnesota. Now, this rumor does not surprise me. The Minnesota Timberwolves have had an excellent season, and although they look amazing, someone like Dennis would be perfect for them during the playoffs. You know, when their starters are resting, for him to handle the ball, provide some buckets, also provide some playmaking as well. He would be excellent player for them to really kill a lot of minutes, but he's also someone that can really play well both as a starter and off the bench as well. If they, decide they want to put Mike Conley and Dennis on or off at the same courts on the same time. So it could be very interesting from a Minnesota's point of view. But in terms of Toronto, we know they're going to need some assets. So taking a look at the salary cap situation for Minnesota here, they've got $12 million. $13 million is around what Dennis makes. Naz Reid is an unrealistic target, although I would absolutely love if the Raptors threw, let's see, one of a first round pick this year and Dennis to acquire someone like a Naz. He's one of the best contracts in the NBA. He's a modern big that any team would love to have. He can block shots, he can shoot threes, he can hit free throws, and he just shoots well overall. And he's a perfect size too. He's around 6'9", 6'10". Gives you a modern NBA, very mobile for his size. He would be excellent. But again, the Minnesota Timberwolves aren't giving him up. Kyle Anderson could be intriguing, but I feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves would have to obviously add some sort of, I don't know how many picks exactly they have. They gave up a ton, obviously, in the Rudy Gobert trade, but they definitely have to give up more, not only considering that Kyle Anderson is an expiring contract, but also just if you're not giving up much besides Kyle, it doesn't make a ton of sense. Now, two guys I'm looking at, Shake Milton, Alexander Walker. Now, why those two names in particular? I think the prize there is Nickeil Alexander Walker. Shake Milton, you're going to get him as a salary throw-in. And before people say the Raptors have way too many guards, do keep in mind, guys, that we're getting rid of essentially Gary Trent Jr., Bruce Brown, Dennis in this season or early next season. Assuming obviously someone like Bruce Brown doesn't get traded at the trade deadline. But we're getting rid of three guards, and yes, we have Grady there, but it never hurts to have guys like that. Nickeil is only 25 years old. He still has some potential. Shea could be someone they could possibly throw in a trade filler next season. Whatever you decide to do with him, it could be very fascinating as well. But we'll see what happens with the Minnesota Timberwolves situation. Let's talk about our next trade rumor here. And this was a little bit of a surprise. Now, this was discussing that the Toronto Raptors are the most recent team to be involved in discussions about trading for D'Angelo Russell. Russell's name has been mentioned in trade talks with the Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors, and Atlanta Hawks in recent weeks. Sources tell ESPN while the point guard managed to play some of the best basketball of his career. Now, one thing I will say right off the bat, I don't buy this rumor one bit. I know there's some Dennis to Bruce Brown, even trade rumors to potentially the Lakers being interested in those two guys there, and that could make the salaries work, right? D'Angelo is making about $17-18 million. But believe me when I say this, the Raptors, when they trade for players, what they look for is good attitude, good work ethic. And while he may have good work ethic, his attitude isn't great. It's always been a concern, and which is why you often see D'Angelo Russell moving from team to team and getting traded often. So I don't see the Raptors doing this. This is more of a case of the Lakers leaking these kind of news because the Atlanta Hawks, we know they're trying to trade DeJounte Murray, and they did not want D'Angelo Russell. So even though he's playing some of his best basketball, yes, in recent weeks, I don't necessarily see the Raptors trying to acquire him. So again, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go on to the next rumor here. Not much to talk about in this rumor here. And the next rumor was talking about the New York Knicks. A Knicks Raptors trade has already occurred, but it was stating that the Knicks has spoken with the Raptors regarding Bruce Brown. Grimes hasn't been part of these conversations. Instead, discussions have centered around Evan Fournier and draft compensation for Brown. Now, one thing I will say, if you're just getting Evan Fournier, again, expiring contract, I believe it's a team option. So it doesn't make a ton of sense for the Toronto Raptors. He doesn't have a lot of value. When the Raptors do trade for players, one thing they do keep in mind is it's similar to what they did with the Pascal Siakam trade. Is okay, if we trade for this player, how much value will this player have moving forward? And Evan, with respect to him, he doesn't have a ton. So in terms of taking a look at the salary cap situation really quickly for the New York Knicks here, Bruce Brown around $22 million this season. Evan Fournier is realistically the only player. Obviously, OG is making 18. He's not going anywhere. Mitchell Robinson isn't. And Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo simply aren't. I personally would love to have either of those guys, but those guys aren't coming because if you trade Josh Hart, you're still $10 million short, and they're not trading Isaiah Hartenstein or Dante DiVincenzo as part of that deal. So, again, the only logical sense it makes here is Evan Fournier, who's making close to what Bruce Brown is making. Now, in terms of picks, the New York Knicks have an insane amount of picks. When you look at the years here, from 2024 to a few years down the road. Obviously, Detroit and Washington are definitely keeping their picks this year, but in terms of some of the other teams, guys, there's no way that Dallas is going to be bottom 10 team in the in the entire league. So obviously those picks are going to come, but also from the Knicks point of view, they can only have so many young players at one point. So I do believe they will, yes, save those for a potential Davion Mitchell trade maybe during the summertime, but they should be a team that shouldn't be too hesitant to give up draft picks. I think, maybe protected. I don't know. I don't want to throw out potential trades here because there's so many what if questions. 2025, 2026 first round pick would be great if the New York Knicks did include that. I don't know if it'll actually happen. Let's talk about the next trade rumor here. This was linking the Milwaukee Bucks to Bruce Brown. Everyone wants Bruce Brown, and this was stating that the Bucks are showing interest in Bruce Brown. Brown is said to be a player the Bucks think highly of, given his ability to impact the game in various ways on both sides of the court. And we know how bad the Bucks defense has been. The Bucks are motivated to find an immediate upgrade in favor of Pat Connaughton and campaign two names that neither of those names are coming back to the Toronto Raptors because they want young players and draft compensation, which the Milwaukee Bucks simply do not have. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on that. It'd be nice if they could give us a first round pick. I don't believe they have it till much, much later this decade, but we'll see what happens. Now, one of the last rumors, at least I want to address, is Chris Boucher. We heard rumors about how the Raptors may look to move him, and it was being reported yesterday that the Raptors are trying to find a landing spot for Chris Boucher per Smith, Eric Smith, I believe, of the Raptors. I'm sorry, I forget his first name at the moment, but this is not a surprise. He's got salary going into next season as well. He hasn't been playing minutes, and I feel bad for Chris Boucher. It could be potentially his last game he played yesterday, and I tweeted this. Shout out to him. He's a true professional, and constantly hearing his name, he didn't have to play, in a blowout game as hard as he did. Yet he went out there and played his heart out. And Chris Boucher, whatever happens moving forward, we'll definitely miss you from a Raptors point of view. And as Raptors fans, we'll definitely miss you as well. But we'll see what happens. Now, this isn't a rumor, but quickly to touch upon this before we end the video. Scottie Barnes is an all-star. Yes, Shams Charania announced that Atlanta's Trae Young and Toronto's Scottie Barnes have replaced Joel Embiid and Julius Randle on the NBA Eastern Conference All-Star team. Now, a lot of Raptors fans are wondering why Scottie Barnes didn't get a lot of All-Star votes this season, or excuse me, this All-Star time. And there's all sorts of mystery around it. Some people are saying, are they lying? There's, all sorts of things going on Twitter. But it's nice that he's finally getting this opportunity. Again, he's the first player from his draft class to become an All-Star. And as a Raptors fan, it's been a hell of a season, man. It's been a really disappointing season, but at least this is one of the few bright spots to this season that Scottie gets to play in the All-Star game. Also, it's going to be great for him to just go out there and play with some of these talented, players that have been in the league for quite some time. And, maybe he starts recruiting some of these players. Who knows? It'll be fun to see Scottie in an All-Star game and representing the Toronto Raptors. Again, I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are on these rumors. Do you think any of these rumors have a lot of, do you see a potentially Raptors being interested in example for D'Angelo Russell? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And I'm going to end this video off here. Fortunately, there's no trivia question for you today. I've got an hour and a half before I got to get to work. So I'm going to let you guys whoever wants a shout out. I'm going to let you guys comment down below. Whoever wants a shout out, comment down in the comment section and I'll give you a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.